How many of you have had hurdles when interacting with government services, whether online or offline? Yes, perfect. Wow, this is so perfect. I have a perfect presentation for you guys. So I'm going to talk about Exege's work with the Mayor's Office of Housing and Community Development. We've been working with them for the past 2.5 years to build a product called Dahlia, which a lot of you are really familiar with. And as Phil mentioned, I'm a partner at Exege. I focus on our civic tech practice. We work a lot with the City and County of San Francisco and Bay Area governments. So let me start by telling you a little bit about the challenge we were facing a few years ago in affordable housing. So San Francisco has some really ambitious goals to build affordable housing. Everyone is probably familiar with the issue of housing stock in the city and being able to find housing. The city is slated to build 30,000 new housing units by 2020, and 10,000 of those are going to be permanently affordable. But it is really hard to find these listings. You're probably familiar with government websites. This is how the Mayor's Office of Housing and Community Development site looked like a few years ago. It has evolved since, but very text-heavy formats, hard to determine what link I should click on first, what I might be eligible for. And this is not the only site you can go to for housing, right? There are other nonprofit sites, other agencies like the Department of Public Health also deal with housing. So it's inconsistent information across tons of different sites, different eligibility criteria, hard for someone who might be in an emergency situation to navigate all these different resources. So let's say you did find a listing that you were really excited about and you wanted to apply. What happened then? This is kind of what you were met with. This was the application process a few years ago. It was all on paper, and each building had a unique application. So there were different applications for each building. You had to make sure you had the right one. And they were very long. They asked for a lot of supplemental information from people, a lot of documents. So they took several hours to several days to fill out sometimes. And then, once you were done with that application process, you had to go back in person to turn it in. And what does everyone do when they have a project that has a deadline? They procrastinate it till the very last minute. And so, long lines would form on the day of the application due date. And there would be a lot of stress in terms of getting in your application by 5 p.m. that day. And then once you did submit your application, the post-application process was also really opaque. So San Francisco runs on a housing lottery system, which means that, let's say a building had 1,000 applications apply. The city would run a lottery, and then the building manager uses that lottery ranking to lease up the building. So the lottery process was as of a couple years ago, done manually. So that is a lottery drum. The tickets were put in, literally 1,000 tickets, sometimes more for a listing, and pulled out manually. And they had to pull out every single one, right, for transparency purposes. People wanted to make sure, hey, did you have my ticket in the drum? So really, archaic process, really time intensive. So in 2015, we started this project, and we met all of these challenges with our product that's called Dahlia. And Exege was the engineering and design team that worked with the Mayor's Office of Housing on this product. And I am going to demo it really quickly for you guys. We don't have a ton of time, but I want you guys to see the product. This is Dahlia. So you guys can take a look at this more. It's at housing.sfgov.org. And I wanted to point out two main things. So two things we did was we standardized the listing format, and we also standardized the application process. So now every listing looks the exact same on the site, and we've intentionally prioritized pieces of data that users care more about to determine their eligibility, for example, to a listing. And then deprioritize stuff like pet policies and smoking policies that aren't as relevant in the beginning of their journey. And so the standardized process means that people know what to expect when they go to the site, and they have a really consistent experience from listing to listing. So if they decided, let's say, to apply to Howard Street Apartments, they would click on Apply Online. And this is what we call the short form application process, so emphasis on short. It's translated into the city's main languages. And it's a step-by-step application process. Gives the user a lot of context, what documents they might need, things like that. But we've taken that several hour to several day process and shortened it to 15 to 20 minutes online. And we only ask for one piece of supplemental document information. So you can kind of go through this. One thing that's really important is, for example, if we enter a birth date that's too young, you can do a lot of things with web that you can't do on paper. You can start to flag certain things like, hey, you're actually too young to be the primary applicant on this housing listing. And this is more important when you can start to flag things like, hey, actually your income is too high for this listing. Maybe consider another listing. It means that we can send more eligible applications through to the building managers, which saves them time and also saves applicants time, not wasting time on things that they're not eligible for. So I'll let you guys go explore that on your own time. We'll go back to, I can show you what the end state. Let's see where the correct person is. Maybe we'll just go with this. Do you see where the, I can't really see where the presentation mode is.
You can click on the full screen.
You can just press Commando. There you go. Cool, so this is what the end state kind of looks like. Let's say I submitted my application. I actually get an electronic lottery ticket number, and I can save this to an account to save it for later, which is actually really important for folks that might be in emergency situations. It's hard to keep track of paper, things might get lost or stolen, so it's really great to have a central database that they can reference for their lottery ticket number. And on the city's end, they now run an electronic lottery that takes way less time than a manual lottery. Here's some results that we've seen from the site. So we've had 50,000 applications since that feature went live. When an online application is available for a listing, 85% of people use it. So there's still a paper application that mirrors the online application if people want to apply on paper. And we've had over 1 million site visits as of last fall. So this has started to give the city a lot of great analytics data that starts to influence housing policy. What type of units or buildings should we invest in? Who's applying? Who's not applying? Who's dropping off in the application process? And why are they dropping off? Was their income too low or too high? Things like that. And where can we redirect resources to serve those people? So, what is the vision beyond San Francisco? So we've done this work within the city and county of San Francisco, but we believe that people don't live their lives within the confines of a county. You might work in one county and live in another. You might move to get your kid into a different school district, or because you changed jobs, or to be closer to family. So our vision is really for a regional affordable housing resource. And so we've started to chat with a bunch of different counties about this. But I wanted to talk a little bit about why being open source helps us do this. So Dahlia, the product, is open source. Right now it only exists in San Francisco. So we have Dahlia San Francisco, which you guys briefly saw. And that site actually interacts with a standardized database of those listings and applications. So it pulls from that database to show you the housing listing. And once you apply, it takes your application and puts it back in that same database, right? So that's the Dahlia system in San Francisco. So if another county wanted to do this, let's say Santa Clara County, they could take the open source code that is the Dahlia website and spin up their own version of Dahlia. And they would have to build their own housing database that would have to sort of mirror and be really similar to San Francisco's database, right? Mirror the same listing format, mirror the same application format. And because of that, it becomes a lot easier to envision a regional affordable housing resource that can pull from both the Dahlia system in San Francisco, and Santa Clara County, and Alameda County, and San Mateo County. And the user doesn't care where the housing comes from. They don't care who funds it. They just want to be able to find affordable housing in the region, right? So it creates a better experience and a more standardized experience for them. So I want to bring this back to the user as I close. When we first started building Dahlia, we were doing a lot of user testing and user research. And when we launched the site, we had a user that said, was looking at it and was like, oh wait, I don't actually think this is for me. It looks too nice. I don't think this is affordable housing. Is this affordable housing? And we were like, yeah, this is affordable housing. This is for you. And I think, you know, market rate housing seekers are really used to our Zillows and Trulias and Pad Mappers and even Airbnb. We're used to a certain experience online, right? And a lot of affordable housing seekers or people interacting really frequently with government services are not used to that same experience. And so our ethos is to treat them in the same way a market rate housing seeker would be treated. And because Dahlia is open source, we're able to have those conversations and spread that to other counties. This more recent user said, you know, why wouldn't we want to make these listings look really, really nice? I just think that the low-income population deserves the same level of respect as people who can pay $6,000 a month. So that was a pretty powerful quote. So we are currently talking to 3 main Bay Area counties to spread Dahlia. We are looking for counties and cities that are interested in learning more, as well as housing developers that are interested in learning more. If you're a technologist or a community organizer that wants to get involved in spreading Dahlia, we'd love to talk to you also. There's actually a lot of people in this room that have also worked on this application, if people could raise their hand that have. So you can talk to me or talk to one of the folks in the room, either at the city or at Exigy, and we'd love to tell you more about it. So, thanks. Woo-hoo.